Hey YouTube, this is the Robinhood Investor. Hope you had a great day of trading. As always, I really appreciate your support, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to learn about investing, subscribe to this channel. Today I'm going to talk about Adobe stock. Today it reported earnings, currently $404 per share. Make sure you stick to the end of the video for my opinion on this stock. So taking a look at Adobe, current market cap is $186 billion. P/E ratio is 60.13, and dividend yield is 0, which means they're reinvesting all profits back into growth. Now, taking a look at the key stats of Adobe, you can see that their financials, it's steadily growing year over year ever since 2016. So you see both the revenue and earnings both increasing steadily year over year, which is great to see that kind of growth. Also looking at this past couple quarters, you can see that it's trending upwards as well. So both the revenue and earnings are steadily increasing. Now, taking a look at the key financial stats, you can see market cap is $186 billion. Trailing PE, which is in the past 12 months, is 58.75. Forward PE is better at 34.86. It's going down a bit. You can see their 52-week change is 47%. Now scrolling down a little more, you could see their 200-day moving average is 342. Dividend yield, as I mentioned, is 0. So they're reinvesting all profits back into growth. Now, in terms of profitability, Adobe is very profitable at 27.72%. Operating margin in the trailing 12 months is 30%. So in fact, this is a software cloud company. It's very profitable. Management effectiveness, you can see return on assets is 10.77%. Return on equity is 31.79%. So very effective in terms of management. Now for income statement in revenue, you can see it's $11.66 billion. Quarterly revenue growth is 18.8%. Gross profit, $9.5 billion. EBITDA is $4.08 billion. So that's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. Net income is $3.23 billion. Quarterly earnings growth year over year, 41.7%. So good to see that kind of growth. Balance sheet is total cash is $4.17 billion. So good to have that kind of cash position during these times, especially when they're trying to maintain their business. If things go wrong, then they can have that cash to sustain their business. Total debt is 4.71, and debt to equity is 45. So for every dollar equity they have $45 in debt. For operating cash flow, you can see it's $4.73 billion, and lever free cash flow is $3.58 billion. So very solid financials and good to see that kind of growth. Now taking a look at the press release that was released by Adobe, you can see that their strong demand across Creative Cloud and Cloud Document Drives. Net new digital media ARR, $443 million. And second quarter fiscal year 2020 financial highlights, you can see that they achieved record quarterly revenue of $3.13 billion in second quarter fiscal year 2020, which represents 14% year over year growth. So to see that kind of double digit growth, even at the size of the company, is great to see. Diluted earnings per share was $2.27, and that's on GAAP basis, and $2.45 on non-GAAP basis. Now, in terms of their different segment revenue breakdown, you can see digital media segment was $2.23 billion, which is 18% year over year growth. Creative revenue grew to $1.87 billion, and document cloud revenue was $316 million. Digital media annualized recurring revenue, that's ARR, grew to $9.17 billion exiting quarter, quarter over quarter increase of $443 million. So great to see that kind of growth. Creative ARR grew to $7.93 billion, and document cloud ARR grew to $1.24 billion. So the fact that these are subscription-based services, it's good to see that kind of recurring revenue, and we want to see that kind of revenue growth, especially when it's subscription-based. And digital experience segment was $826 million, which is a 5% year over year growth. Digital experience subscription revenue was $707 million, which is an 8% growth. And digital experience subscription revenue, excluding advertising cloud, was 18% year over year. So across the board, you can see all segments rising, growing very steadily, even during these times. At a macroeconomic level, it may not be good, but this company is even doing well, especially in the creative space. When you're creating content, you always use Adobe, and that's like the industry standard. So good to see them benefiting from all this work from home and creative work. GAAP operating income in the second quarter was $1.02 billion, and non-GAAP income was $1.34 billion. GAAP net income was $1.1 billion. Non-GAAP net income was $1.19 billion. So overall, very positive operating income and net income. Cash flow operations was $1.18 billion. So good to see that positive cash flow. And remaining performance obligation exiting the quarter was $9.92 billion. Adobe also repurchased approximately 2.6 million shares during the quarter. So good to see that they repurchased their shares. Whenever the company buys back shares or equity in their company, it means they're confident in their own company, and it'll help increase the earnings per share with less shares available in the market. And some quotes from executives, overall very positive. You can see Adobe's strategy to empower customers to create the world's content, automate critical document processes, and enable enterprises to engage with their customers digitally drove record revenue in Q2. And that was from the president and CEO of Adobe. So good to see that he's optimistic about the company. And he also said that the tectonic shift towards all things digital across all customer segments globally well served as a tailwind to our growth initiatives as we emerge from this crisis. So good to see that Adobe benefited from the digital solution space. And taking a look at what the CFO said, Adobe delivered another quarter of record revenue and expanding profitability despite the challenging environment. So you can see that was from the CFO. And in terms of their cloud update, they announced that even though it's macroeconomic level, it's not good, it's significantly accelerated in Q2 its previously stated strategy of limiting low margin advertisement cloud transaction driven offerings. The company will continue to offer its advertisement cloud software solutions. Taking a look at this financial target for Q3, total revenue at $3.15 billion, digital media segment revenue 16% year over year growth. So they're confident in their double digit growth again next quarter. Digital media annualized recurring revenue ARR, $340 million of net new ARR. Digital experience segment revenue flat year over year. So even though it's not growing, it'll maintain where it's at. Digital experience subscription revenue 5% year over year, and tax rate is GAAP 10%, non-GAAP 10%. Share count 485 million shares, and in terms of earnings per share, $1.78 for GAAP. So overall, I think Adobe has a lot of potential upside even during these macroeconomic conditions. Very solid financials, very solid growth across all its verticals in their solutions, and it's benefiting from the digital solutions space. And I see Adobe being a great long-term buy and hold position, and it's on my watch list, and I'm considering to start a position when there's a great opportunity. That's all for this video. What are your thoughts on Adobe? Comment down below. Remember to use my referral links below, and both of us get $20 for using personal capital or a free stock for using Robinhood. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to learn about investing, subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.